What's going on, everybody? It's your boy, Mijay Media, and this may be the best, most convenient camera slider on the market. Can we talk about it?
Okay, I was gone for a minute, but I'm back now.
All right, so before I get fully into the slider, as always, guys, be sure to hit that like button, share this with your family and your friends, and you see that subscribe button? Yeah, go ahead and slap that like an Oscar host. What, too soon? That way you can be notified anytime I drop more dope content like this. Let's get it. So for the past 2 years, I've been using the Rhino Slider system to get all of my smooth and creamy B-roll shots. And don't get me wrong, this system is really, really good. Like really, really good. Especially with my Rhino Art 2. Not gonna brag. But if you've ever tried to use one of these on a continuous basis for things like real estate or weddings, basically anything other than interviews where it's gonna be stationary and just doing its own thing, or if you've ever tried to travel with one, then you know how cumbersome and heavy they can be and how it can really slow down your workflow in that situation. Enter the iFootage Shark Slider Nano. Try saying that 5 times fast. This lightweight and compact device is a whole 2-axis 8-inch slider that can double in length on a tripod because it can slide over itself to about 16 inches and comes in at around $800. But for that price, you get a ton of stuff and a ton of features. First of all, this thing is super tiny. I mean, look at this thing. It's about the same size as my forearm. Honestly, real talk, I could probably fit this in a regular book bag and travel around with it if I really wanted to. Luckily, I don't have to do that because iFootage starts to include a really, really nice a really, really nice slider bag. This carrying case is padded and it comes with a bunch of stuff inside like the phone mount, the slider, the manual, the connector cables, and a battery. Speaking of battery, the battery that this thing uses is the Sony NPF style battery. This is super nice because although the slider is able to be charged and powered via USB Type-C, having that extra power option as a backup is very forward thinking since, let's be honest, over time the internal charge may decline with a lot of our devices, including this one, but the external power source should remain the same for years to come, which would make that declining power issue not really an issue anymore. And also, speaking of cords, this thing comes with all of them, like all the cords. iFootage thought it necessary to include every single cable you could possibly need with this slider. It comes with the charger cable and it comes with a bunch of shutter release cables for about any camera you can think of. Also, the phone mount that's included with the bundle is super well built. It's sturdy, it's adjustable, it fits most phones, and it even includes a cold shoe mount on the top of it so that you could put on a light or a mic or whatever you need to do. I don't know what you're into, you weirdo. And speaking of the slider itself, the reason that I love this thing is because everything that you need is already included and installed into the slider itself without you having to go out and pick up a bunch of other unnecessary attachments. All right, for starters, this thing has a freaking transforming mount. That means that it goes from a 1/4-inch screw to a 3/8 screw with just pushing the screw down. This means that you could screw on a ball head or even the camera itself without buying any unnecessary attachments or adapters. And for those parallax shot lovers, myself included, this thing comes with a motorized pan head built into the carriage. I mean, with the Rhino Arc system, you had to go out and pick up the Rhino Arc 1, which they no longer sell, or the Rhino Arc 2, which is about $1,500 by itself. But with this system, you have all that same accessibility and all those same features with no extra cost and no extra headache. It's almost like they made this specifically for travel filmmakers or something. Uncanny. All right, so this thing has mounting options all over the place of all different sizes. A few locking mechanisms for keeping the slider from moving around when you're trying to make those little micro adjustments to get better shots and better angles. And it's a sturdy build. It's all metal build. And this thing supports up to 8 pounds horizontally, which translates to about 5.5 pounds on a tripod and about 4 pounds when it's mounted vertically, because this thing can slide vertically very easily. However, I don't recommend that you go above a 2.5 pound payload when you're going vertically. But the thing about the slider that I love the most is the internal integrated remote that's been incorporated and built right into the design of the slider. Although there is an app that you can get for this slider, which actually works really, really well, I'm more of a hands-on hardware kind of person, right? So for me, who doesn't really want to mess around with the whole downloading an app and trying to connect it, because we all know how finicky connection between apps can be, and also the fact that apps drain your phone battery at an unholy rate, I can literally control everything I need to just from the slider itself. So the fact that they included this and made it so easy to use and so user-friendly definitely gets my seal of approval personally. Even using the slider itself is also very, very easy. All you have to do is turn it on. It takes a second once you hold the power button, bam, and then it's gonna come up with the logo. After the logo comes up, all you have to do is wait for it to do its little calibration. And once that's done, it'll go to the first side, or whatever side the battery is on. You just hit confirm, letting it know that it calibrated correctly. And then you got the menu. The menu's right here. I usually hit quick start. Now you can go back and they have a bunch of other options like the time lapse feature, the stop motion, or the settings. But quick start usually works for me, so that's the one that I usually use. All right, so I go into quick start and I just hold down the function and the power buttons together for a few seconds, and then the A and the B icon will start flashing. Once that happens, all you have to do is move your camera to your first key point, and then hit A, letting it lock that in, and then slide it to your second key point and hit B. It's gonna ask you to confirm. You're gonna hit confirm. Now you can also hit that icon that looks like a recycle icon, but it's actually a loop icon. You can hit that if you want the slider to continuously go back and forth, which I do. So I'm gonna leave that selected. Then I'm gonna hit standby. Once you hit standby, it's gonna go back to the first key point that you set, and then you're just gonna hit start. And it's that easy. It couldn't be easier. And if you want this thing to stop, all you're gonna do is hit exit. It's gonna ask you, are you sure? Of course I'm sure. That's why I hit it in the first place. And boom, just like that. Now, although I love this slider, it's not perfect. And there's a few things that they would need to address and fix in order to make it the perfect slider. First of all is the micro jitter issue. This slider takes great smooth shots. The only thing is it takes it at 20 plus seconds, right? Faster than 20 seconds, and it shows you on screen, you're subject to experiencing micro jitters while sliding, and that can ruin some shots. Hopefully they can fix this in a future update, because although it's big and bulky, the Rhino sliders with the Rhino Arc 2 or even the Rhino Arc 1, you really don't have this issue. It's not really something you have to think about. But with this, it's actually something you have to be conscious of, and that's just not something that I want to deal with. All right, so the second thing is kind of a nitpick, but I just wish that they would have included one of their iFootage Seastars into this bundle edition. And what that Seastar basically is think of it as a quick release for this slider, right? So it's kind of a workaround to the annoying task of having to spin the slider on the tripod and spin it back off, because that's always nerve-wracking. But with this, you just put it onto the bottom of the slider, you put the other half onto like a tripod or something, and that way you can just pop it on and quickly pop it back off for some other shots. It just makes being creative with these shots super easy and super convenient, and also very efficient. So the fact that they don't include this in the bundle is a kind of a bummer, kind of a letdown, but I understand it. That's just good business, right? As a business person, that makes complete and total sense. All right, so take it that with a grain of salt. And the last thing that I definitely want to be fixed immediately in an update is the load time. I mean, every time you turn this thing on, it takes about 10 to 12 seconds to boot up. Every time. So let's say that you just finished a shot. It looks great, you love it. Oh my gosh, it looks so good. So you turn the slider off in order to move it somewhere else, reposition it, get another angle, right? You turn it back on and you have to wait the 10 to 12 seconds all over again. That's gonna get That's gonna get annoying. That's gonna get old. It's like waiting for a Warzone lobby to fill. It just takes forever. So whatever you guys have to do to make this better, fix it. All right, because it's kind of holding it back a little bit. But again, all of those are just like little nitpicks and stuff, because if this is an $800 slider, I'm not gonna go too in on it about those things. But if this was like a $3,000 slider like the Rhino system, oh, believe me, I would get all up in there. But you can't really complain too much about it, especially for what you get for what you pay. And what it includes is the form factor, the portability. This thing just screams beauty, right? But what do you guys think? Would this be the slider that you go for? Is this something that would interest you, or would you be more inclined to stick with the Rhino or the Eldacron systems or something like that? Let me know in the comment section below. And until next time, guys, keep filming, don't stop doing what you love, and I will catch you in the next video. Peace.